YOLO. Today I have some more trucking stories for you guys. And one of them is absolutely wild. You wouldn't even believe it actually happened. But I'll get through the quicker, less exciting stories first, so bear with me here. Alright, this first story is the time a cop thought I was on Narcan. You see, I was done with about a 13-hour shift. I had just pulled into the rest area. I had an oversized load of telephone poles on the back of the trailer. I had parked. I was about maybe 20 minutes into sleep, just in the sleeper berth, playing a little bit of video games, about to fall asleep, when all of a sudden I hear this knocking on my driver's side window. So I get up and I go out and I look, and there's an officer there. So I'm like, oh shoot, what's going on? I don't want to have any problems. So I roll down the window and he's like, hey, I'm doing a Narcan check. We had a can in the rest area that was stolen, so I'm making sure everyone's okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But I looked tired and worn out. And he's like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm just very tired, officer. I've been up since like 2 a.m. He's like, all right. Go ahead and pull your truck up a little bit, though. You've got an oversized load that's hanging off the back and sticking off into the driveway a little bit. So I hop in the front, and now, I'm not an idiot. Well, okay, I'm not born yesterday, I should say that way. Because I know that if I drive this truck in front of the officer without first putting myself into on-duty mode, that's a violation and I can get in trouble. So I make sure to go, 1 second, officer, let me put myself on duty, drives the 15 feet forward, and he just kind of nods up and down. Then I put myself back into sleeper berth. So you knew for a fact he was trying to see if he could get me. But I wasn't born yesterday, so I didn't fall for it. This next story actually happened to me within this past week, so a really fresh story for you. You see, I was in the New York area. New York, I know. But it is what it is. I was in the New York area. I had just gotten unloaded, and I was pretty short on time. However, there was a shipper nearby that had 24-hour truck parking, so I could go there, get loaded, then go ahead, do my 10-hour break before I continue on. However, the next load from that place was delivering at 7 a.m. in Boston at a construction site. So I ran the numbers, and I would have to get up at about 12:30 in the morning. Yeah, a.m. 12:30 a.m. in order to be able to deliver that load on time. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So I get loaded, I do the thing, I go to sleep, I wake up at like midnight 30, do my little 10-minute inspection, get on the road, start driving, runs into construction, but it's not too bad because it's early in the morning. The hills kind of slow it down, but again, not that bad. I hit the Boston traffic with maybe an hour and a half left on my clock before I had to do my 30-minute break. And then the rush hour, or not rush hour, but I guess the morning commute traffic kicked in. I had about 15 miles to go to get to the construction site. And about an hour and a half to 2 hours later, I finally was able to take the exit off the highway. So now I'm already violating on my clock. If I get pulled over, I'll get in trouble. I take the right-hand turn, I follow the instructions. It takes me to this little alley between two buildings, and I'm delivering roofing material. So I figure they got a crane on the top of the roof. It'll come down, grab the stuff, lift it up. But I was directed to a construction site, not the construction site I needed to be at. It turns out that the shipper got the wrong address and sent me to the wrong part of Boston. So now I'm sitting there. I'm already violated on my clock. This construction site is like, hey man, you can't really park here. Sorry that you got the wrong spot, but you gotta go. I'm calling my people. They're trying to call the construction people. I'm trying to call the job site foreman, whose number is on the paperwork. Not getting a hold of anybody. So I then leave. I go to to the nearest like service plaza you can park at, which is about 30 miles away. And right when I get there, then my fleet manager calls me. He's like, all right, we finally figured out what the right address was. It wasn't 799, it was 779, which is actually on the opposite side of the highway where there's different construction going on. But I'd already burned up my time at that point. So that load ended up getting pushed on to the next day, which set me 1 day's work behind because I'm paid based off of percentage of the load, not based off of hours or anything like that. So I was kind of pissy about that. But that also means I then had pretty much the entire day to myself to just sit around and wait because the construction crew wasn't going to be able to unload me until the next morning. So I caught up on a little bit of sleep, which was pretty nice. So small miracles. Now this last story also takes place in New York, but thankfully it's nowhere near New York City. It's just in the state of New York about 2 summers ago. And it sounds like something out of a movie, but it was actually real and it happened to me. And I've told like everybody I know about it because stuff like this is just so crazy. But the thing you gotta know is in New York, the rest areas are more like service plazas. And instead of having a building in the center with all the restrooms in it where semi-trucks park on one side of the building and then people park on the other so you're nowhere near each other, service plazas are set up to where the truck parking and the regular people parking can be next to each other and even face each other. So I was maybe 10, 15 feet away from where regular people park. I was parked facing them, they're parked facing me. And then off to the side, there's a building that has restrooms, but also has a gas station and a restaurant in it. So it has a little bit more options there. I was doing my 30-minute break, trying to get some time back so I could continue driving. So I had gone inside, went and bought some like cheese sticks and maybe some dark chocolate, something like that. And I come back out to my truck and I'm like, oh, I still have some time. When out of the store walks these 2 absolute bombshells. I'm talking 10 out of 10 dimes. You could tell they were on college break, and one look and I'm like, oh wow, they are way out of my league. And they start walking over to their car. So I'm like, man, they're real pretty, but oh well, let's focus on, making sure all my stuff is put away, water bottles go in the little mini fridge. I look up, they get into the car that's directly in front of me by about 15 feet. And then the girl in the passenger seat starts reaching back. I'm like, what is she reaching for? She pulls out a shirt, and that's when I realized that she's about to change her shirt there in her car in front of me. So, being the good gentleman that I am, I immediately became hyper fixated on my floor. I'm like, oh wow, look, there's a crumb down there on my floor. I really shouldn't eat inside the truck. And, how many bottles of water did I buy? 1, 2, 3... Just looking anywhere but out my windshield, trying to, do the right thing. Being the proper gentleman that my mama raised, more or less. And I waited, and I didn't try to hide or anything. I made it obvious that I'm not looking. And after about 2 to 3 minutes, I then go ahead and look up, because that should be plenty of time to change a shirt. Now, at this point, my time has come back on my clock, so I can go ahead and start driving. So I'm getting ready to be done anyway and leave. So I look up and I see the 2 girls in there. One's a blonde and one's a brunette. The brunette was in the passenger seat. And they're both laughing hysterically. You can tell that they just had the time of their lives seeing me fumble around, making sure I didn't look, making sure I wasn't a creep or a pervert. And they got a kick out of it, and it made them real happy. So I was happy about that. I get ready to drive away, and they start honking their horn at me. And I'm confused. I'm like, what? So I look at them, and I kid you not, they both look at each other. They turn their heads to the side, look at each other, look back at me, and then they both lift their shirts and flash me at the same time. And I had the biggest, goofiest ear-to-ear grin, and I laid on the air horn and honked at them, and they honked it back at me, and they were laughing. And I was just... I was smiling so huge. It's like I did the right thing. I wasn't a pervert or anything like that. And for my gentlemanliness, I got rewarded. And I still think about that to this day. Like, gives me a huge old grin, even like when I'm telling the story now. Because something like that just seems like it wouldn't happen in real life. It's crazy. And I'm very happy that I was rewarded for my good deed, I guess you could say, of not being a creeper. But if those two girls ever watch this video, you really shouldn't go doing that. That's not appropriate. That's bad. But at the same time, thank you, because it definitely made my whole day, if not my whole week. So you shouldn't do that, but also thumbs up, 2 thumbs up for both of you. Definitely not the kind of women I would marry, but the kind of women I would tell stories about for generations to come. Have it immortalized here on YouTube. And it adds to the dad lore for when I get married and have kids one day. But those are a few more of my trucking stories. Let me know in the comments below if you believe me or not. And before anyone asks, no, there is no photographic evidence of this. I would not be an absolute degenerate like that. So, you can go ahead and get that out of your heads now. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side.